How you doing? How your mom name? Okay, so look, y'all, where I live, these people are crazy. You hear me? They crazy. So look, y'all need to help a sister out, okay? When I say help me out, I mean help a sister out. Okay? So look, I hate living in this city, guys. Everybody thinks, oh, where you live, it's so pretty. It's so awesome. Blah, 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 blah. Look, I was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. You feel me? Born and raised. Everybody, comes to Pensacola, Florida for the beaches. Now, I used to be okay going in the beach water until, you feel me? Until, y'all listening, until this mama worked out on the beach. And on my break, I would walk up the pier. You guys would be so freaking surprised how many sharks are literally, you hear me? Literally swimming around your knees. Okay? In knee-deep water. Okay? Knee-deep water. How many sharks are really swimming around your legs? After seeing that, not anymore. Not today. Say not today. But look, guys. Story time. A quick story time, okay? I left Pensacola when I was 17. I went to upstate New York to go on a vacation. Well, my plane was booked, round trip for a week. Well, back in Forrest Gump, when they say vacation, you know what vacation means, Forrest? Vacation means when you go somewhere and you never come back. Well, that's what I did. But I ended up coming back 3 years later. Yep, that's right. 3 years later, with a baby and pregnant with my second. That was crazy. I got pregnant right around my 18th birthday. It was after I turned 18, or maybe on my 18th birthday, from the time that he was born. So yeah, so I'm thinking I got pregnant either on my birthday or 2 days after my birthday, which was Valentine's Day. Yes, I'm an Aquarius. Okay. Anywho, so everything was kosher. I found out I was pregnant. I told my father. My dad was not happy. I'm not going to go into, details of our conversation. When I told him I was pregnant, it wasn't pretty. So then, I got to being about 5 months pregnant, and I caught him cheating on me. So I packed all my baby stuff that I was still pregnant with, and I shipped it back home. So I got home, and I got a job. I was working graveyard. Sucked so bad because I was 5 months pregnant, working graveyard. By the time I got home, I could not sleep because it was daytime, so I ended up really, really, really sick. And anywho, I got to being about 8 months pregnant, and I was going to my little sister, getting ready to go to my little sister's birthday party. And my father had told me that in order for me to stay with him, I had to go to church. Now, we all know church people could be judgmental. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking people, but, I'm a young teen person pregnant. I'm sure, you know, I was like, a lot of people are going to judge me, blah, blah, blah. So I swallowed my pride, and I, you know, needed somewhere to stay for me and my unborn child. So I was like, okay, I guess we'll do it. Well, the church actually, you know, welcomed me with open arms, which I was very shocked. Well, then, still working graveyard, and I was trying to rest up before I had to go to work, and my father, I don't know, he said some hurtful things again, and I'll give you the gist of it. Telling me I was lazy and I'm good for nothing. How dare I get pregnant? Blah, 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 blah. So, me, had money. I shipped all of my baby stuff back to my kids' biological father, and I rode a bus at 8.5 months pregnant all the way back to New York. And they couldn't believe it. They were like, oh, we need doctors. Is there a nurse? Is there going to be any, you know, nurses? Any, you know, anybody on here? Blah, blah, blah. Well, just so happens there was a nurse. Well, I didn't go into labor. I got all the way there 3 days later. And I was literally there for 2 weeks when I lost my plug. And when I lost my plug, my biological father's, or not my kids' bio dad was nowhere to be found. His, you know, they were out looking for a car for us, but I call BS. Anywho, they showed up. I pulled his mom, and I was like, I lost something. I'm not sure if it's normal. It's a long, gooey thing. That's all I mean, I was only 18. I said, it's a long, gooey thing. And she said, call your doctor. I called her. This was October 30th. And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So she said, I need you to come in. Let me check you. Now, the nearest hospital was literally 30 minutes away from where I was. I said, okay. So I told the grandma that we had to go, and as soon as we started our way up, it started snowing. So I was like, well, that's crazy. Well, then excuse me. So then I went over there. The doctor was across the street from the hospital, and the doctor said, well, you've got high blood pressure. I need you to go next door to the hospital. Let us monitor you for a few hours, and if nothing happens, then you could go home. I said, okay. And when I left the doctor's office, I was 2 centimeters dilated, and then I got over there a couple hours later. I guess my blood pressure went normal, and the hospital's like, okay, we're going to send you home. And I said, ma'am, we live 30-45 minutes away. I need you to check, make sure I haven't dilated anymore, so on and so forth. And she said, okay. So then she said, what were you next door? I said, 2 centimeters. And she's like, oh. Like, what? She goes, well, you're 4 now. She's like, I don't think you're going home. So I'm like, okay, that's whenever my life is getting ready to change. I was so scared because I literally didn't have anybody in my family there with me. My mom, my sisters, nobody. And it was just me and his family. And I was scared. And I called my mom, and my mom calls my older sister. My older sister calls my younger sister. So I had everybody on a phone call with me while I'm laboring. And it was scary because before I knew it, it was like 20 to 5 in the morning. I was 8 centimeters, very uncomfortable, had no epidural, didn't have no pain medicine. 18 years old, no family in sight, and they decided to pop my water. When they popped my water, I dilated the last 2 centimeters that I needed to dilate to start pushing. And then I was on the phone with my mom. I was on the phone with my sisters. We were all chit-chatting. They were talking me through, blah, blah, blah. And then his mom grabbed the phone and hung it up. And I'm like, I want my mom. I want my sisters, you know. And she's like, now's not the time. And then it was time to start pushing. And then... Now, I wasn't due until November 25th. I went into labor October 30th. And, I had a 7-pound, half-ounce baby boy. It was 20 inches long. And then, you know, everything was good. We got to go home 2 days later, was home for a day. His bilirubin was high. And then they told me I had to take my son back the next day to check his bilirubin, and it was critical. Well, with it being critical, I'm speeding. And with it being critical, they hospitalized him. So I was able to stay in the hospital with him. And the father was out doing, you know, wham bam, thank you ma'am, whatever he wants to do, wasn't worried about his child, blah, blah, blah. So then, after a couple of days, we were released. And then it came Christmas time. Christmas time. Everything was good on Christmas, you know. And then the day after Christmas hit. That's when he became physically abusive. They stole my infant child. He handed my son off to his sisters. His sisters ran upstairs. He grabbed a machete and called the cops. And the cops made me leave that property without my infant son, who I was breastfeeding. Then, I found a friend in the neighborhood that let me stay with her. She took me to the courthouse the very next day. When I showed up to the courthouse, there he stood. And I knew he was the father, but I needed my infant child. I mean, that's my son, you know what I mean? I'm breastfeeding him. What did he do? Go 24 hours? You know what I mean? He's gone all night without eating? No, I don't think so. So I told the lady in the window, I was like, look, I said, this is a guy that stole my baby last night, and I don't even think he's the father. I lied, God forgive me, but I needed my son. And the courts told him, you have to give her back, her son, until DNA test proves you're the father. And he's like, well, I'm on the birth certificate. And they said, it doesn't matter. DNA test has not proven that you were the father, and she is denying that she thinks you are the father. So they made him give him back to me, thank God. And I ended up going into a homeless shelter. I was stuck in New York, working 2 jobs. And, you know, I was paying this man to come see my kids. Or my kid. And then his mom would bring him over. And then, what do you know? I ended up getting pregnant again. And I will go on that story time next time.